If you've just had a heart attack scare, or someone you love has, your mind is probably racing. What do I eat now? Can I exercise? Will it happen again? Every little twinge in your chest sends a wave of panic through your body. You lie awake at night, replaying the moment it happened. The ambulance, the hospital, the beeping machines, the doctor's face when they told you how close it was. And now you're home, sitting in your favorite chair, looking around at your life, and wondering how everything changed so fast. Here's what most people don't realize. The things you stop doing after a heart scare matter just as much as what you start doing. Everyone focuses on the new diet, the new exercise plan, the new medications. And yes, those things are important, critically important. But there are habits you're holding onto right now, things you've done for years, things that feel normal, things you might not even think about, that are working against your recovery every single day. And some of them are so subtle, so woven into your daily routine, that you'd never guess they were hurting you. I'm going to walk you through 5 things doctors beg their patients to quit after a heart attack or heart scare. Not 5 suggestions, not 5 gentle recommendations. 5 things that, if you stop doing them, could literally save your life. And number 3 on this list, I'm telling you right now, it's the one almost everyone gets wrong. It's the one that doesn't get talked about in the hospital. It's the one your family might not understand. But it might be the most important thing on this entire list. So, let's start with thing number 1. Stop skipping your follow-up appointments. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You just spent days in the hospital. You saw more doctors and nurses than you can count. You had tests run, blood drawn, monitors attached. You're probably still processing everything they told you. And when you first come home, you're scared. You're motivated. You show up to everything. That first cardiology appointment, you're there 15 minutes early. You've got your list of questions. You're taking notes. You're determined to do everything right. But then weeks pass. You start feeling better. The chest pain fades. You're walking a little further each day. The fear that gripped you in those first few days starts to loosen. And that follow-up appointment they scheduled for 6 weeks out? It starts to feel less urgent. Something comes up, a grandchild's recital, a friend's birthday. Or maybe you're just tired. Maybe the drive to the clinic feels too long. Maybe you don't want to sit in that waiting room again, surrounded by people who remind you of what you just went through. So you reschedule, and then you reschedule again, and then you cancel. Here's the truth that nobody tells you when you leave the hospital. Your heart doesn't heal on your schedule. It doesn't care about your calendar. Scar tissue forms in the weeks after a heart attack, and that process needs to be monitored. Your medications, those blood thinners, those beta blockers, those statins, they need adjusting, sometimes monthly. Your blood pressure doesn't send you a text message when it creeps up. Your cholesterol doesn't tap you on the shoulder. These are silent numbers, and the only way to catch them moving in the wrong direction is to show up and get checked. Every missed appointment is a missed chance to catch something before it becomes another emergency. And here's a statistic that should keep you up at night. The highest risk window for a second cardiac event is the first 90 days after the first one. 90 days! That's it. That's the window where your body is most vulnerable, where the inflammation is still active, where the medications haven't fully stabilized, where your new lifestyle habits haven't really taken root yet. And during that window, your cardiologist wants to see you, not because they're trying to bill your insurance, not because they enjoy making you sit in traffic, because they are watching for warning signs that you cannot feel. So here's what I want you to do. When you get home from the hospital, before you do anything else, take out your calendar and write down every follow-up appointment for the next 6 months. Every single one. Cardiology, primary care, cardiac rehab, lab work. Put them in ink, not pencil. And then tell someone, your spouse, your adult child, your neighbor, tell someone about those appointments and ask them to hold you accountable. Because when that morning comes and you don't feel like going, you need someone in your corner who will look you in the eye and say, "Get in the car. I'm driving you." That person might be the reason you catch something early, instead of catching it in the back of an ambulance. Thing number 2. Stop eating the way you did before. I know this one is hard. Food is more than fuel. Food is comfort. Food is 50 years of family recipes. Food is the way your grandmother showed love. Food is the casserole your neighbor brings over when you get home from the hospital. Food is the Friday night pizza tradition with your grandchildren. And now someone is telling you to give all of that up, to eat differently, to look at your plate like it's a chemistry experiment. Here's what changed. Your arteries just sent you the loudest warning signal they are capable of sending. A heart attack is not a random event. It's not bad luck. It's the end result of years, sometimes decades, of plaque building up in your arteries, narrowing those passageways, making your heart work harder and harder to pump blood through ever tighter spaces. And if you go right back to the same plate, the same portions, the same ingredients that contributed to that build-up, that warning signal gets ignored. Your arteries don't suddenly become clean because you spent a week in the hospital. They need you to change the fuel you're putting into the engine. Now, I'm not going to tell you to throw out everything in your kitchen and live on kale smoothies for the rest of your life. That's not realistic, and honestly, that's not sustainable for anyone. What I'm going to tell you is that there are 3 specific things you should stop doing immediately, not gradually, not when you feel ready, immediately. Number 1. Stop with the salt shaker before you taste your food. Most of us salt our food out of habit, not because it actually needs it. We reach for the shaker before the fork even touches the plate. Sodium raises your blood pressure. High blood pressure forces your heart to work harder. Your heart just went through a trauma. It doesn't need to work harder right now. Taste your food first. Give it 10 seconds. You might be surprised how little salt it actually needs. And if you're cooking, experiment with herbs, with garlic, with lemon juice, with pepper. There's a whole world of flavor beyond the salt shaker. Number 2. Stop frying everything. I'm talking about the fried chicken, the fried fish, the hash browns, the onion rings, the deep fried anything. Frying food adds saturated fat and trans fats to your meal, the very fats that contribute to arterial plaque. Bake it instead. Steam it, grill it, saute it in a small amount of olive oil. The same chicken breast that would be a problem battered and fried is a heart-healthy meal when it's baked with rosemary and a drizzle of olive oil. Same protein, completely different impact on your arteries. Number 3. Stop drinking your calories. This one catches more people off guard than anything else. Sodas, sweet teas, fruit juices, that second or third glass of wine in the evening. Every single one of these puts pressure on your heart. Sugary drinks spike your blood sugar, which triggers inflammation. Alcohol raises blood pressure and can interfere with your heart medications. Even fruit juice, which sounds healthy, is often loaded with as much sugar as a soda. If you're thirsty, drink water. If water is too boring, add a slice of lemon or cucumber. Herbal tea is your friend. These small swaps, and I mean really small, just changing what's in your glass, add up faster than almost anything else you can do. You don't need to become a different person overnight. You don't need to throw away every comfort food you've ever loved. What you need to do is make small, consistent swaps. Your heart notices every single one. Every meal where you choose grilled over fried, your heart says thank you. Every time you drink water instead of soda, your heart says thank you. Every plate where you taste before you salt, your heart says thank you. These aren't giant sacrifices. They're tiny acts of respect for the organ that's keeping you alive. Thing number 3, and this is the one I told you about at the beginning. The one that almost everyone gets wrong. The one that your doctor might not mention when they're running through your discharge papers. Stop ignoring your emotions. After a heart scare, everybody asks about your chest. Does it still hurt? Any pressure? Any shortness of breath? They ask about your medications. Are you taking them on time? Any side effects? They ask about your diet. Are you eating less salt? More vegetables? They ask about your exercise. Are you walking? How far? How often? Nobody asks about the fear. Nobody asks about the anxiety that hits you at 2 in the morning when the house is quiet and your mind starts racing. What if it happens again? What if I don't wake up? What if the next one is worse? Nobody asks about the panic that floods your body when you feel a twinge in your arm, or a flutter in your chest, and suddenly you're right back in that moment, gripping the edge of the kitchen counter, realizing something is terribly wrong. Nobody asks about the sadness, the quiet, heavy sadness of realizing your body isn't as strong as it used to be. The grief of losing the version of yourself who could do anything, lift anything, go anywhere without thinking about it. The loneliness of sitting in a room full of people who love you, and feeling like nobody truly understands what you just went through. And because nobody asks, you don't talk about it. You shove it down. You tell yourself you should be grateful to be alive. You tell yourself other people have it worse. You tell yourself that focusing on your feelings is weak or self-indulgent. So, you smile when people ask how you're doing. You say you're fine. You're getting stronger every day. And inside, you're falling apart. Here's what the research shows, and I need you to really hear this. Depression after a heart attack doubles your risk of another cardiac event within the next year. Doubles it? That's not a small increase. That's not a maybe or a possibly. That's your risk literally multiplying by 2. And the majority of heart patients, especially men over 60, never mention their emotional struggles to their doctor. They suffer in silence. They tough it out. They white-knuckle their way through the fear and the sadness, never realizing that those unprocessed emotions are putting physical stress on their heart. Every single day, anxiety raises your cortisol levels. Cortisol raises your blood pressure. Depression makes you less likely to take your medications, less likely to exercise, less likely to eat well, less likely to show up for your appointments. It's a spiral. The worse you feel emotionally, the harder it is to take care of yourself physically. And the worse you take care of yourself physically, the more anxious and depressed you become. So, here's what I want you to do, and I mean this with every fiber of my being. Talk to someone, not eventually. Not when you feel ready. Now. Talk to your spouse if you have one. Don't just tell them you're fine. Tell them the truth. Tell them about the 2A, panic. Tell them about the fear that lives in your chest now, right next to your heartbeat. If you don't have a spouse, talk to your adult child or your sibling or your closest friend. Talk to your doctor. I know it feels awkward to bring up emotions in a cardiology appointment, but your cardiologist has seen this before. They know the connection between heart health and mental health. They can refer you to someone who specializes in exactly what you're going through. Talk to a counselor or a therapist. There is zero shame in this. Zero. You just survived something that kills millions of people every year. Your body went through a trauma, and your mind went through it right alongside your body. You wouldn't ignore a broken bone and expect it to heal on its own. Don't ignore a wounded spirit and expect it to heal on its own either. And if you're not ready to talk to someone face to face, at least find a support group. There are cardiac recovery groups in almost every community. There are online forums. There are people all over the world right now in this exact moment who are feeling exactly what you're feeling. You are not alone in this. You are not weak for struggling. You are human. And burying those feelings doesn't make you strong. It makes your heart work harder. Give yourself permission to feel all of it. The fear, the anger, the grief, the relief, the gratitude, the frustration. All of it belongs. All of it is part of healing. Thing number 4. Stop rushing back to normal. This one is so common, especially among people who have spent their whole lives being capable, being the one who fixes things, being the one who carries the heavy groceries, who shovels the driveway, who mows the lawn, who lifts the grandkids onto their shoulders. You've built your identity around being strong, being reliable, being the person everyone else counts on. And when a heart attack takes that away, even temporarily, it doesn't just hurt your body. It hurts your sense of who you are. So, what happens? 2 weeks after you get home, you're carrying bags of mulch from the garden center. 3 weeks after, you're back to mowing the lawn because you don't want to ask your neighbor to do it again. A month after, you're bending down to pick up a grandchild because their arms are reaching for you, and how can you say no to that? You're not trying to be reckless. You're trying to prove something. To yourself, mostly. That you're still you. That the heart attack didn't change anything fundamental. That you're not weak. That you're not a burden. that you can still do everything you could do before. But here's what's happening inside your body that you can't see. Even after a mild heart attack, even after what the doctors call a minor cardiac event, there is inflammation in your heart muscle. There is tissue that is healing. There is a process of repair that takes weeks, not days. And when you push too hard too soon, when you lift something heavy, when you exert yourself beyond what your heart is ready for, you can literally re-damage the healing tissue. You can set your recovery back by weeks. You can, in the worst cases, trigger another event. Cardiac rehabilitation exists for a reason. It's not a gym class for heart patients. It's a medically supervised program where professionals monitor your heart rate, your blood pressure, your oxygen levels, and your EKG while you exercise at a pace that is safe for where you are in your recovery. They know exactly how hard to push you and exactly when to pull back. That's not something you can figure out on your own by how you feel. Because here's the tricky thing about heart recovery. How you feel is not a reliable guide. You can feel fine 1 minute and be in trouble the next. The warning signs can be subtle. A little more tired than usual. A little short of breath. A feeling of pressure that's not quite pain, but not quite nothing either. If you're in cardiac rehab, those signs get caught immediately by people who are watching your numbers in real time. If you're in your backyard with a shovel, nobody's watching. Nobody's catching it. And by the time you realize something's wrong, it might be too late. So, here's a simple rule. Write this down. Put it on your refrigerator. If you're short of breath, stop. If you feel any kind of pressure in your chest, stop. If you're exhausted an hour after doing something, you did too much. Recovery is not a race. It's not something you can power through with willpower and determination. It's a very slow, very deliberate, very humble walk. And the people who recover best are not the ones who push the hardest. They're the ones who listen the most carefully to what their body is telling them and respect its limits. Let your neighbor mow the lawn. Let your daughter carry the groceries. Let your grandson climb into your lap instead of you lifting him. These small acts of accepting help are not signs of weakness. They are acts of wisdom. They are you giving your heart the time it needs to heal so that 6 months from now, a year from now, you're still here, still walking, still hugging, still alive. And thing number 5, stop taking your medications inconsistently. Now, I want you to be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you ever skipped a dose? Even once? Have you ever looked at that handful of pills in the morning, the white one, the yellow one, the little round one, the big oval one, and thought, do I really need all of these? Have you ever felt fine all day and decided to skip the evening dose because, well, you feel fine, so what's the point? You're not alone if you have. Medication fatigue is real. Taking a handful of pills every morning and every evening, day after day, week after week, for the rest of your life, that is a heavy thing to carry. And when you start feeling better, the temptation to ease up is powerful. The logic feels sound. I feel good. My body must be healing. Maybe I don't need as much of this stuff anymore. Maybe I can take half a dose. Maybe I can skip today and see how I feel. Here's why that logic is dangerous. Those medications, the aspirin, the blood thinner, the beta blocker, the statin, the ACE inhibitor, whatever combination your doctor prescribed, those medications are not making you feel better. They are not treating symptoms. They are preventing the next event. They are working silently in the background, keeping your blood thin enough to prevent clots, keeping your heart rate steady, keeping your cholesterol down, keeping your blood pressure in a safe range. You don't feel them working. That's the point. They work whether you feel them or not. And when you stop them, even for a day, even for a single missed dose, you open a window. For a blood thinner, that window can be dangerous within hours. Stopping a blood thinner early after a stent procedure or a heart attack is one of the single most common causes of a second heart attack. The stent needs that medication to stay clear. The moment the blood thinner wears off, clots can start forming, and you won't feel it happening. Not until it's too late. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because nobody explained it to me clearly when I needed to hear it. And I want you to understand. These pills are not optional. They are not a suggestion. They are the bridge between where you are now and where your body needs to be. And you don't get to decide when you've crossed that bridge. Your doctor does, based on blood tests and EKGs and stress tests and months of data. So, here's what I want you to do practically. If you're mixing up doses, if you can't remember whether you took the morning pill or the evening one, get a pill organizer. One of those weekly boxes with compartments for morning and evening. Fill it every Sunday. If you struggle to remember to take them at all, set an alarm on your phone. 2 alarms if you need them. Make it a ritual. Pills with breakfast. Pills with dinner. Tie it to something you already do every day without thinking. If the number of pills feels overwhelming, talk to your pharmacist. Many pharmacies now offer blister packs, all your medications organized by day and time in a single sealed package. You just pop out the ones for that time slot. No counting, no confusion, no missed doses, and never, ever stop a heart medication without your doctor's direct say-so. Never. Not because you read something online. Not because a friend told you their doctor took them off the same drug. Not because you're feeling great and you think you don't need it anymore. Your doctor prescribed that medication based on your specific test results, your specific history, your specific risk factors. Only your doctor knows when and if it's safe to stop. That one decision, to stop a medication on your own, could undo everything you've worked for since the day you left the hospital. So, there they are. The 5 things you must stop doing immediately after a heart attack scare. Stop skipping your follow-up appointments. Stop eating the way you did before. Stop ignoring your emotions. Stop rushing back to normal. Stop taking your medications casually. Here's what I want you to remember more than anything else I've said. Surviving a heart scare is a second chance. But here's the thing about second chances. They only work if you use them differently. You can't go back to the same habits, the same routines, the same ways of thinking and expect a different outcome. The heart attack was a warning. A loud, terrifying, unmistakable warning. And what you do with that warning, whether you listen to it or whether you try to pretend it never happened, will shape the rest of your life. You have more control than you think. Not over everything. None of us have control over everything. But over these 5 things, you have complete control. Every appointment you keep is a choice. Every meal you prepare is a choice. Every conversation you have about how you're really feeling is a choice. Every time you let someone else carry the heavy thing is a choice. Every pill you take on time is a choice. And every single one of those choices is a brick in the foundation of the rest of your life. You can do this, one choice at a time, one day at a time. Your heart has been through something serious, but it's still beating. It's still fighting. And if you give it the respect and the care it deserves, it will keep beating for a long, long time.